viewers of Genetically Modified News.
Today's topic is the advantages and disadvantages of GMOs.
More specifically on genetically modified mosquitoes and golden rice, two GMO movements that have sparked a lot of support and controversy in the scientific community. What are some ethical issues in GMOs, and how could their presence be a detriment or advantage for organisms?
On this week's progress, you'll find out. We'll be joined by special guests Dr. Laurent and Dr. Sanikal, who are experts in the topic of genetic modification.
First, we'll be asking Dr. Laurent about how these two movements can actually be a good thing.
Hello, Dr. Quinn. Today, I would like to ask you a few questions on genetically modified mosquitoes and golden rice. First off, what are your opinions on genetically modified mosquitoes?
Hello, Lorelei. Thank you for having me on. I suggest that genetically modified mosquitoes are a very good thing. This is because of the need to decrease the amount of mosquito-related deaths. 2.7 million people die a year, with the majority of the deaths being children deaths, according to the National Institutes of Health. Scientists have created many different ways to fight off and decrease the number of deaths, and one of their ideas, which is genetically modified mosquitoes. I feel that genetically edited mosquitoes are a massive breakthrough in limiting loss of life surrounding these diseases.
And your feelings surrounding golden rice?
I have similar feelings surrounding golden rice. Golden rice was made to be a better alternative to normal rice in areas such as South Asia and Mesoamerica. The people's diets in these places tend to lack vitamin K, and golden rice fills this gap as it is rice with an insertion of vitamin K. This invention allows people to get the necessary amount of vitamin K without having to take medication or massively import foreign goods to get proper nutrition.
Well, Dr. Quientin, now that we have learned about the advantages of genetically modified mosquitoes and even the advantages of golden rice, could you tell our viewers how these scientists can actually modify these mosquitoes?
So you see, the scientists of Oxitec first synthesized the two genes that they wanted to insert into the mosquito's DNA, a lethality gene and the tracking gene. The first of these genes make the mosquitoes within the gene reliant on food that is not available in the wild, while the second acts as an identification number on the affected mosquito's gene code, making the affected mosquitoes glow red at a certain wavelength. The researchers then inserted the genes into several mosquito eggs. Through the tracking gene, we can see which mosquitoes have been affected with the lethality gene and track the spread of this edited genome in the mosquito population.
That's a very interesting procedure, Doctor. Now turning to our second guest on today's broadcast, Dr. Sanikal. What are your feelings surrounding GMOs?
Personally, I disagree with Dr. Quintin's argument. GMO technology is very dangerous, and scientists need to tread more carefully when it comes to its uses. Although mosquitoes have amounted to an immense death toll every year, as they carry awful diseases like Ebola, there are some disadvantages to genetically editing them. Because they are part of the food cycle, mainly in places like Northern Africa, they act as a vital food source to much of Northern Africa's wildlife. Oxitec's work could cause a stark decrease in the population of mosquitoes, making much of the wildlife in Northern Africa starving without mosquitoes to eat. Also, there is a risk of a genetic edit to go possibly wrong, causing a gene sequence to change in an unexpected way, which might cause a mass dying off of a specific organism, or some other change that could impact the fragile ecosystem of Earth. Could something like this possibly occur? Only time will tell.
That is a great argument to Dr. Quinn's thinking. Although, what are some issues that could arise with genetically modifying mosquitoes?
In addition to ecological problems that genetically editing mosquitoes could cause, this endeavor could also bring up many ethical questions. Mainly, if we can edit organisms on a vast scale like the mosquito population, what else could we possibly achieve with this technology? Could we possibly go too far in the name of science?
Thank you so much for your view, Dr. Sanikal. Now, after hearing from both sides of the argument, I think we can make a conclusion on whether or not the advantages of GMO plants and animals outweigh the disadvantages.
I think the advantages of GMOs definitely outweigh the disadvantages of them, especially in agriculture. As this technology develops, we can see the positive effects through decreasing a disease that is spread by an organism, or even better crop yields as an example. Although these advancements could possibly get ahead of us and could harm the environment and other organisms as a whole, overall, the conclusion we've made on today's broadcast is that GMOs are here to stay as a good thing that only gets better as time passes.
I completely agree with Lorelei. Well, that's it, viewers. Thank you for tuning into Genetically Modified News for another week of amazing discussion. See you next week.